Hi, today I want to talk about a new addition to the shop, a Schaublin 125 CNC lathe. I managed to pick it up for a very good price. I actually bought it sight unseen, but the seller provided a bunch of photos, so I took the gamble. When it arrived, the first thing I noticed was the packaging. It was incredibly well done. Honestly, I've never seen an older machine packaged this nicely. It was screwed down to the pallet, wrapped in layers of bubble wrap. Just phenomenal. The machine had already been retrofit to Mach 3. I'm not exactly sure when, but judging from some of the hardware I found later, I'd guess around 2015. Unfortunately, it came with no original documentation and only very little info on the modifications that were done. Luckily, I still knew quite a bit about what the original system should look like, thanks to incredibly detailed retrofit videos from Rotary SMP of the exact same model here on YouTube. As far as I understand, his machine was almost completely original when he started, which gave me a great baseline for spotting what had been changed on mine, even if most of it was fairly obvious anyways. But enough about the unpacking. Let's take a look what I actually got myself into. Okay, I have now disassembled the machine a bit. Just the covers and stuff that is easy to remove. Nothing major yet. So with that, I think we can take a walk around the machine and see a bit what we are working with. There's a lot of, let's say, interesting stuff here, definitely. In the front, actually, not too much interesting. We have a few holes made in the electrical cabinet, but that's not big of a deal. Obviously, the Z-axis motor is still the original one, so don't know if that is better or worse, but still is there. Actually, the bed and the spindle seems mostly original and fine, at least from the front. The rest as well, so far nothing special. We do see already the mount where the old computers sit. We do have, what is it, power, VGA and a few USBs and a few just loose cables. Let's see how that connects later. Going on, here is an interesting thing. As far as I can understand and what was written on the machine when it came to me, this is a pressure gauge for the collet closer slash pneumatic 3-jar chuck. That's pretty cool, I think, with its own adjuster. So that looks cool. Spindle stock itself from the back also looks pretty much original, I think, as far as I know. The belt is a bit, don't know if that should be a bit tighter or not. My gut feeling said it is a bit looser than you would want to be, but not sure on that. So then the first actual issue that we see, don't know how good that comes over on the camera, but we actually do have, I never saw wait, give me a second. Here, that is the point. So we have a tooth belt that actually had parts where nothing of the original plastic is still there. So we will have to definitely pull the spindle. I would have really liked to avoid that, but yeah, it is what it is. Okay, going further, we see on the inside here, yeah, we see it. Most of that stuff actually looks, I don't see anything that looks out of place. I mean, obviously we have here a bit of pneumatic gear. So if I understand it right, this is the actual oiler for the collet closer. That's situated here, kind of like that actually. But other than that, not too much to see here. Again, same with the variator. Without knowing too much about the machine, nothing seems to be out of place here. Above it, there was a cabinet here, which in this machine, just empty. Not quite sure what was in there originally, but nothing in here. Here we have the back side of the crosslet. This is obviously not the original motor. It's, let's see, can we go under there? I can kind of see its lens. Yeah, let's see. It's a reasonable motor for here, I think. One other interesting thing, the seller told me that the x-axis has gotten a magnetic linear scale. I do assume that this cable here goes to that. Kind of interested in how that is actually positioned, but again, we will probably see at some point. Then we come to the coolant tank. That seems totally original. On that, actually, if anyone knows from you guys, there is just this plug on there, and there is a fitting outlet here. What I would like to know, in normal operation, is this coolant just, or the coolant pump just always running, and you just turn on and off by closing and opening a valve? Or is that somehow controlled via a contact or anything? But yeah, here, so coolant, don't see a problem with that. We get here to a point where obviously the air inlet is, with a basic, just like conditioning unit. And then it goes in. I kind of like the manifold I have, so can put a air nozzle or something pretty easy. And yeah, then now we are coming to the bad part, I think. What we have here is, there is a unit that's supposed to be used as a control panel, and that is really just normal buttons and a few potentiometers. Not too bad. Kind of don't like the look of it, but probably functional. And that is giving us kind of a lot of the really bad looking cabling. So getting that set up a little bit nicer with a few labels on it shouldn't be too hard. Other than that, this seems to be a VFD for the main spindle, which is nice that we already have one. On the control side, this is Mach 3 stuff. I kind of am not a Mach 3 guy. On the drivers for the axis, we do have a lens driver as well. I assume they were bought together with the x-axis, and here's still written on the, after seeing a few photos, I would assume that that is the original driver for the z-axis, which, as we already said, seem to have the original axis. Problem here really, I don't have any schematics or anything, but that was clear before I bought it. I knew what I was getting into. Here, as far as I know, in this compartment, usually there's only the pneumatics of the system. Here, we do have some pneumatics still. Really have to find out what is what. I mean, the seller was so nice, and there's a bunch of stuff like that. So we know, for example, that that is the pressure regulator for the tool changer. So that's super, super nice. In general, the seller is really, really great. Right here, yeah, here's just a old computer case just sitting here. And with that, I think we are through most of that. To be honest, kind of mixed feelings. The hardware seems really, really, really good. The cabling is a hot mess, and it has its problems here and there, but really, the bones of the thing do not seem bad. Not bad at all. One thing left, the head unit that it had, I'm pretty sure I will definitely not reuse this. It's just a bolted together thing, mostly empty. It's really just a monitor, mouse and keyboard. I think we can do better than this. Oh, and bycatch. We do have lots and lots of tool holders, which is super great. The simple tool holder for the back end of the Crosslight for don't know, parting of parts or something, and a pneumatic 3-jaw, and lots and lots and lots of jars for set 3-jaw. And we also have a tailstock, which is also kind of interesting. Pretty sure, so based on this plaque, I do expect this to have been a pneumatic actuated tailstock as well, like CNC controlled one. But it has that. And it's actually like manual now. I'm pretty sure, so like these big nuts stuff, they look fine, they look good. It seemed to have been done professionally, or somewhat professionally, but it doesn't scream Schaublin to me. So I don't think that is original. I'm pretty sure that is DIY'd for someone as well.
Now that I've looked over the condition of the machine, I wanted to see if everything actually works. The seller provided everything except the original hard drive, so I installed a new one and put Windows on it. After that, I copied over the provided Mach 3 folder. It's pretty nice that you don't have to install Mach from scratch. You can just copy the whole folder, license, plugin and all. With that done, the machine is basically fully operational, at least everything I tested so far. That includes homing the axis, jogging with the provided MPG, the pneumatic 3-jaw chuck, and the tool changer. I didn't dare to test the spindle yet because of the encoder belt I showed earlier, but I have no reason to believe it wouldn't work. I also measured the runout of the spindle, and I couldn't detect any at all. Using a 1 micron dial indicator, there was absolutely no visible movement, even when I pushed on the spindle with maybe 10-15 kilograms of force. The reading didn't move. The front bar does show somewhere in the middle. Both ends are within 1 micron, and the center is roughly 8 microns low. I'm not completely sure whether 8 microns is already something to worry about, but for now, I think it is fine.
So, with the system running, I can just repair the encoder belt, clean it a bit and use it, right? Maybe. That's one of the options I see right now, but there are a few issues I see. For one, I personally don't really like Mach 3. It's maybe a dumb thing, but I just don't like Windows on a tool. And yeah, the maybe more reasonable reason why I kind of don't want to use the machine as is is the cabling. You saw it. I don't have a wiring diagram. I don't really know what's happening in there. Seems to all work right now, so that's nice, but if anything breaks, and let's face it, it's an old machine, something will break at some point. I kind of am out of luck here in terms of troubleshooting without any information. So I kind of think I have to rewire the machine anyways. And in that case, I really think about getting rid of most of the control hardware and getting Linux CNC Mesa hardware. I did already do a retrofit on a mill and on a few smaller systems. So I'm definitely not an expert in Linux CNC, but it is way more known to me than Mach is. Yeah. What would you guys do? I would really like to know your opinion on this. Leave it in the comments. And if you had fun, it was my pleasure. Thank you for watching.